Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Emerson Church. It is wonderful to have you here today. My name is the Reverend Proulx, and I am the minister here. It's good to see you all. It's good to be here with you on this beautiful day. Thank you for joining us, whether you're joining us here in the pews or joining us on Facebook or YouTube. We welcome you, and we hope you're having a great day. For those of you joining us in the pews, if you are new around here and would like us to know a little bit more about you, or if you would like to know a little bit more about us, there is a yellow card in your pew. If someone could hold up the yellow card, demonstrate, thank you very much. Feel free to fill in one of those yellow cards, and you can leave it either in the front or in the back in the offertory basket, and we will communicate with you. For those of you here this morning after the service, we welcome you into the gathering space to have some coffee and conversation. And for those of you who are joining us online, Marilyn Rambo will be hosting a Zoom room gathering, which you can join. You'd have to switch from YouTube to Zoom. We welcome you to do that, and we hope you will do that. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. And now I invite Mary to bring us into the formal part of our service.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Mary Cochran. I currently serve this church as a member of both the Performing Arts and Worship Committees, and I will be assisting Reverend Ed this morning. As we work to create beloved community, we welcome all who would join us in building a better world with more love, more justice, and more peace. We welcome all who would join us in growing in mind, heart, and spirit. We welcome all who would join us in tearing down systems of oppression of all kinds. We welcome all who would join their purposes to ours in a loving spirit of right relationship. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here. Each Sunday, we read prophetic words from one of our 6 sources. This week, our words come from Reverend Thomas Rhodes. Reverend Rhodes served our faith in Tennessee and North Carolina from 1996 until his retirement in 2012. His words today are entitled, Walking the Crooked Path. Holy Spirit of life and love, you who are our source and our ultimate destiny, lead us this day on a crooked path. So often we are in so much of a hurry, taking the direct route to our goal, not allowing ourselves to be distracted, sometimes being too direct with one another in all that we seek to do, to be, and to have. But we can see that no river takes a direct path to the sea. Your trees and bushes sprout crooked limbs, and birds, beasts, and insects meander in their search for food, shelter, or a mate. We lose so much when we take the direct route, the interstate, which bypasses the quaint township, the arrow that misses the mark, the chance to stop and say hello and how are you, and really listen to the reply. So lead us on the crooked path, past wandering streams and crooked trees, following our heart's desire. Not just duty's demands, for the crooked path also leads us home. And now Reverend Ed will light the chalice.
As we gather in community, we look within ourselves and to each other for strength, restoration, and inspiration, so that as we journey together, we catch the spark of the eternal Spirit, and from that spark, we light our chalice flame. Lighting the chalice flame symbolizes to all that the spirit of our congregation is strong, and that our will to transform ourselves and to transform the world is also strong. We light this flame with gratitude. We light this flame in memory of all who have gone before, in honor of all who are here now, and with joy for all who are yet to come. And this morning, my friend Ruth has agreed to help light our chalice. As she lights it here in this sanctuary, I welcome everyone at home to also light a chalice or a candle or whatever you want to symbolize our spark as well. This morning and for the month of August, we will hear the words of Albert Einstein when we light our chalice. Einstein, of course, was born in Germany in the late 1870s, and he died in New Jersey in the mid-1950s. In between, he is credited with reshaping in a revolutionary way the scientific understanding of nature. That's all he did. Here, he's talking about change. Please join us in reading these words with us, which are on your screen. The world, as we have created it, is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. And now I invite you to help us sing our first hymn. How you can stand, you can sit, however you want to, just help us sing our first hymn, which I think is a popular hymn here, right? We know this hymn, right? Enter, rejoice, and come in, and it's in the gray hymnal. Now we have the part of our service that we call the Time for All Ages, or the children's story, or the children's sermon, whatever you want to call it. It is this. Today, the title of our story is Benny and the Brilliant Bugs. Once upon a time, in a colorful village nestled between rolling hills, lived a young boy named Benny. Benny was an ordinary boy, but with an extraordinary curiosity. He had a knack for noticing things that others often missed. One day, as he walked through the meadow, his eyes landed upon something small and fascinating, a group of brilliantly colored bugs dancing around a patch of wildflowers. Benny had never seen bugs like this before. They were a kaleidoscope of colors, each bug shining like a tiny jewel. Benny couldn't help but smile as he watched them flit and flutter, creating a magical dance in the air. He was captivated by their beauty and grace. Can you imagine these little bugs in your mind? Can you see them? As the days passed, Benny found himself spending more and more time observing the bugs. He would sit in the meadow, his notebook in hand, sketching the bugs, intricate patterns, and jotting down notes about their behavior, what all they did. He named them the brilliant bugs, and he felt a strong connection to these little tiny creatures. Benny's fascination with the brilliant bugs didn't go unnoticed by his friends and family. His best friend, Lily, was curious about his newfound interest. One sunny afternoon, she joined Benny in the meadow. Benny looked up with a smile when Lily said, "What are you doing, Benny?" He said, "I'm studying the brilliant bugs. They are so amazing, Lily. Look at these patterns on their wings and how they move in harmony." Lily peered closer and marveled at the bugs' brilliant colors. "You're right, Benny. They're like little teeny tiny works of art." Inspired by Benny's enthusiasm, Lily began observing the bugs too. Soon the two friends were spending their afternoons in the meadow, learning about the different bug species and sharing stories about the bug discoveries. Word of Benny and Lily's fascination with the brilliant bugs spread through the village. More and more children joined them, bringing magnifying glasses and sketchbooks and even cameras to capture the bugs' beauty. The meadow became a hub of excitement and learning, filling with laughter and the joy of discovery. The village elders also noticed the positive impact that Benny's interest on the bugs had on the children of the village. They decided to organize a Nature Day celebration where the children could showcase their bug findings and observations. Benny and Lily were thrilled and worked tirelessly to prepare for the event. On Nature Day, families from the village gathered in the meadow, colorful posters displaying bug facts and bug illustrations, and the children excitedly shared their bug-inspired art and findings. Benny and Lily gave a presentation about the brilliant bugs, their colors, their patterns, and their role in the ecosystem. The villagers were amazed by the children's passion and knowledge, and they realized that taking an interest in something seemingly small could lead to a deeper understanding of the world around them. The brilliant bugs had brought the community together in a way that they had never imagined. And that is the end of our story for today. At this point, if you would like to go to your RE classrooms, I have a feeling we have something pretty cool in class today, and we welcome you. Amen. And now I turn to Mary.
Like many communities of faith, Emerson collects an offering each week. But our offering is not for our congregation, but to give to others, because we know that giving is both a transformative spiritual act and an important way to live our values. 75% of our offering will go to our August Share the Plate recipient, the Carrizo Comocrudo tribe. The original people of the South Texas Rio Grande Delta seek to retain and protect ancestral homelands and burial sites from fracking, pipelines, LNG terminals, and construction of the border wall. The tribe works to preserve their culture and raise awareness of threats to air, water, and sacred sites. The remaining 25% of our offering will go to Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, which provides, on average, 5,000 meals every day to Houston's homebound seniors. There are 4 ways to give. You can text the number on the screen, go to our webpage for online giving, put cash or a check in our offering baskets, 2 up front and 1 located in the back, or mail a check to the church.
And now we move into our quiet time, a period of meditation and peace. Please make yourselves comfortable in a position that helps you feel grounded and centered. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing, and take in a deep breath. Today, I wish to hold up during our meditation time the town of Lahaina, Maui, which suffered the second to the worst wildfire in U.S. history this week, leaving, estimates are, as many as 80 people dead and most of the town without food or shelter. The fires consumed the entire town in just a few short hours. This church, too, knows the pain of sudden catastrophic loss. Let us use our strength to hold Lahaina in your hearts. We will watch together in silence a 3-minute video which documents the devastation. And then we will move back into our service. Amen. And blessed be. The juxtaposition of the sea, which just kept on doing its thing as though nothing had happened, and the destruction of that town is just amazing. And now I invite Mary to read our second reading.
Our second reading today comes from the Israeli poet Din Kriegsman and is entitled Heart Over Matter. In it, he is addressing the dichotomy of emotion versus intellect. When your heart suddenly feels light, excited, at ease, when you feel like your heart just knows what to do and your worries are far from your mind as you are, you know that your mind will start chasing, racing to hold down your heart. After all, it is there to protect it ever from breaking apart. But in order to keep your heart happy like a child, you must soften your hold. You must let it run free for a while, follow and see what unfolds. Your heart is stronger than what you would think and recovers at much greater speed. So please just try every once in a while to give it the freedom it needs. Believe in your heart and embrace it and give it all that you've got. Because whether it turns out for the best or the worst, you'll be happy more often than not.
So today we are continuing our discussion of the Greek word of metanoia and how it fits into church life and how it possibly, hopefully, fits into your life. Personal transformation, personal change of heart. So I told you there were 3 big questions last week. Say what? So what? And now what? Today we're going to talk about, I think, the most difficult of the 3. We're going to talk about, so what? It's a question we've all asked 1,000 times, right? So what? Right? So let me first start by saying that in my mind, there are 3 important parts of church. There are 3 reasons why church exists. There are 3 reasons why church fills the need in society that it does. And those 3 are social, we have friends, and we do things together, and we are a community. We have personal growth, this concept of metanoia, and then we have improving the world, right? We want to go out and we want to do things to make the world a better place. Now, not everyone is in the same place at the same time. Sometimes we just want to have friends and go out for lunch. We don't always want to be personal growthing. Transformation's a lot of work, and it's not something we want to do every day, all the time. And improving the world, sometimes we're just not in a place where we can improve the world. We have to work on ourselves and help ourselves through something first, right? Not everyone is in the same place at the same time, but these 3 functions, social, personal growth, and fixing the world, I think are the primary purposes to church. Now, how you get there, either through some study of God or through some, every church gets there in a different way, but basically they all get there. So then, if this is this important, these 3 things are so important, why are people leaving churches in droves? Well, let's take a look at that. In 2019, the last year they had data, there was a study done by... Oh, sorry, I'm moving. Sorry, I freaked them out a little bit. Good, you got it? Okay. Moving on. There's a study done by a company called Lifeway Research. I found this in The Guardian, which is a British newspaper. And this study, the last year they had the data, and this Lifeway Research does data on churches. It looks at churches. Church as a social function. In 2019, 4,500 churches closed. In 2019, 3,000 new churches opened. So for those of you proficient at math, you know that this is just the United States, down 1,500 churches. That's what, math again, that's 30 churches per state. It's not divided that way, but something like that. Attendance after the pandemic is at 85% of pre-pandemic numbers. And they threw this data out there, and who cares what this data says if you don't ask the question, why? Why? So they asked the question, why? Number one reason why people leave church is something, quite honestly, the church can't do anything about. They moved. They got a new job, they left town, right? Or other thing, they died or whatever. But just logistics. So we're going to forget about that one because there's nothing we can do about that. The second reason people leave church is because they felt unwelcome at the church. Church members seem to be either judgmental or hypocritical. So there's that social element, right? The third reason why people leave church is because they disagreed with the church on politics or social issues. And we're seeing this. We're watching the United Methodist Church rip itself apart. A few years ago, we watched the Episcopalian Church rip itself apart. And it's sad and dreadful, but that's what happened. And the big one that I think we can absolutely do something about. So the unwelcome, that we can work on that, right? We can make people feel more welcome. Disagreeing with the church on politics or social issues. So I have a little bit of respect for those churches that are ripping themselves away from the United Methodist Church because they feel that they're right. So if that's what you feel, you shouldn't try to be all things to everyone, I think, as a church. You should be who you are and stick to who you are. So I don't know how much we can do about disagreeing with the church on politics or social issues. If someone came to our church and said, for example, that LGBT rights are not a thing and they should not happen, I don't think they'd be welcome here, right? So I think that's okay. Here's the big one. This is the big one. This is the one we can do something about. The big one is they're not getting anything from church. Or let me paraphrase it. They're bored. If you are interested in social, and if the church does have a big social agenda, then you're fine. But let's say, for example, that you really are here for the metanoia aspect, and the church doesn't do anything about that. That you are here for some personal transformation, and the church doesn't do anything about that. You will very quickly get bored, and you'll leave. I have no data to support that. I believe that a lot of people leave UU churches because they're bored. Because UU churches have a way of not wanting to tell anyone what to do, what to think, how to think. People say things to us, and we go, oh. Instead of going, huh? So every now and then, huh, is the appropriate answer. Today we're looking at that aspect of church, and why it's so important is because it keeps people from wandering off because they get bored. So last week we looked at say what? Seek common understanding. So say what? Seek common understanding. Sounds a lot easier than it is, right? Seeking common understanding can take years, especially when it involves a major change of heart. And as if that wasn't hard enough, I think the second question is even harder. So what? Now that I understand what you're saying, why should I care? That say what is a little easier for you to use because it's intellectual mostly and it's facts mostly, and we are very comfortable in the world of intellectual and facts. But when you move from say what to so what, you're moving from the world of facts to the world of emotions. Why should I care? Caring is an emotion. And it's difficult for a lot of people, especially in church settings. And I'm not singling out Unitarian Universal. It's true in a lot of churches. This is a hard jump for many of us to make. Many of us stay rooted in the intellectual facts and logic because it is provable, it is arguable, it's written in a book somewhere, and we can show you that this is where it says that, and that is why this is not a discussion. But I urge you to let so what, that question, be about your heart. Be about what you feel. Try to let your anchor go. That anchor that's holding you in the world of facts, let it loosen up from the rocks every now and then. Let you wander over to the world of emotion, passion, and energy. And I will tell you, as a minister, there are so many things that you are asked to care about. We get marketed here, believe it or not, there's a whole marketing. We get marketed for causes that are, of course, looking for money. And they are all great causes. Personally, I will add that this is where the fundraisers go wrong. They try to fundraise in the world of facts. But what really makes people motivated about issues is the world of your emotion and the world of your passion. Zimbabwean women, farmers, right? Vietnamese farmers, Ukrainian dogs, children, and then right here in this country, children of incarcerated women, children of incarcerated single mothers. It's a big problem. The disabled homeless, pregnant addicts, all of these people are people that our culture treats as disposable. What calls to you? What makes the jump for you from intellectual to emotional? Hear the words of your friends here in the congregation. We all have things that have landed in our hearts. But what things do we have going on here at this congregation that have landed in the hearts of so many here? The ESL program has landed in a lot of your hearts. The Texas UU Justice Ministry, that group of people that goes out yelling at senators, that has landed in a lot of your hearts, right? When so many of your friends have made the jump from intellect to emotional, talk to them. Find out about what they saw in what they're doing that makes them so emotional, so passionate about what they're doing. It's important. And I'll tell you, in preparation for today, and I'm going to give you a little secret right now. In preparation for today, I spent an inordinate amount of time, much more than normal, looking for poetry and quotes and songs that made sense with this conversation of so what. And you know what I found? Nothing. I found lots and lots and lots of stuff telling you that you need to care about something. Caring is good for you. You should find something you care about. Caring is the right thing to do. And I sat there wondering to myself, why do we need so much prompting to be cared? Like there were poems and songs and everything about this. Nothing about how to make that move from the intellectual to the emotional, to the point where I finally gave up, and Bradley will be very happy to hear this. I gave up, and I went to ChatAPT, whatever the hell it's called, because I couldn't find a children's story. And that children's story that I read was written by Chat GPT, word for word. I couldn't find one. All the children's stories were about, you need to care, caring. You should care about something. And I can't imagine a person that doesn't care. I just find that to be so foreign, right? Our culture, though, I think all of this evidence that I found, all these poetry, all these songs about you need to care, you need to care, you need to care, I think this proves to us that our culture does not want you to make the move from intellectual to emotional. It doesn't want you doing that. That's why the poets are the only ones saying this stuff, right? It's called some of the ministers, poets. It doesn't want you to do that. It wants you to stay numb because our culture knows that it can't function without the disposable amongst us. It needs the disposable. You, me, we have been programmed to resist making that jump into your heart. This is why this simple question of so what is a church question. Why should I care? This is a church question. But I question whose lives? Did they mean their own? That's the metanoia part, the self-transformation. Or did they mean those people over there, transforming their lives? Because transforming their lives, that's not what we're talking about. That's what we'll talk about next week. That's so what? That's now what, right? But this week, we're talking about transforming our own lives. But I'll tell you, I don't think you can do one without the other. I don't think you can really transform the world until you've learned to transform yourself. Whoops. There we go. I think true emotional experience can only happen in community. Ooh, how about that? True transformative experiences can only happen in community because moving from fact to emotion is risky. The world is full of people who swear they saw the Virgin Mary in a blueberry muffin, right? They need a community around them to say, I know that's what you think you saw, but it's possible that it was just a blueberry muffin. That's what community is for, because as individuals, we can wander off, can't we? Go down, what's the word, what's the phrase? Go down rabbit holes. We can go down rabbit holes, right? And our community keeps us there. And that's why I think that the Unitarian Universalism is the right church for this job, this very important job. Our first source, it's right there in writing for us. It's right there. The people in the 60s and in the 80s who wrote all of these things, they thought it. We think it. It's still there. Our first source says the direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder. What happens to you is real in this church. What happens to you is important and is an important part of your growth. It is important to have a religion that doesn't take your personal experience of this metanoia, your personal experience, and say, oh no, that didn't count. That wasn't right. Or a church that recognizes it only 100 years after you're dead, which isn't particularly helpful. This is a faith that has faith in you. This is a faith that holds that what you experience is important. It is a faith that works hard to form a community to help you make sure that it's not just an ordinary blueberry muffin. So when you ask this simple question, so what? You're taking a defiant, countercultural stand. Your culture does not want you to do that. Your church does. And that is the liberating, transformative, and redemptive power of this faith tradition we all share. And that is the power of this congregation that we all hold dear. So I welcome you into this journey. I welcome you with each other, with me, into this journey of personal transformation on our way to making the world a better place. And may all of that be so for all of you individually and for all of us collectively. Amen. And now, I invite you, I don't know what I do. I invite you to help us sing our second hymn. If you would stand or sit, however you're comfortable, help us sing our second hymn, which is Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, leading the way on the road from green to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can hear from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
You can sit. Thank you. You can sit, you can dance. I was surprised last week when we sang Let It Be and Dance, and nobody danced. Usually someone dances, but nobody danced last week. As we move out of the formal part of our service, I welcome you to join me in this benediction. If you would feel these words, may you, in the course of your week, be able to feel the liberating freedom of this religious path we share. May your gods welcome you. May they challenge you to live up to your own expectations of yourself, wherever and whatever they are. And may the world around you light up so that you might see your way back to clarity and wholeness. Amen. And now we have some announcements.
The only announcement I'm aware of this week is Lunch Bunch, which will be meeting at Torchy's Tacos on San Felipe, or as we natives say, San Felipe. And now we invite you to follow Reverend Ed into the gathering place while our postlude plays.
I spent it in good company, and all the harm I've ever done, alas, it was to none but me. And all that I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fail to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. Oh, if I had only enough to spend, and leisure time to sit a while. There is a fair maid in this town who sorely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks and ruby lips, I own she has my heart enthralled. So fail to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. Of all the comrades ere I had, they're sorry